Welcome to Brent's Anime Recommendation Corner, where I talk about something I love, and in this case, it is the Rurouni Kenshin OVA, Trust and Betrayal, the first one. Back when anime was first kind of making its way in a big way into America in the 90s, obviously it was around, but when suddenly there's a flood of VHS tapes and OVAs and DVDs and such. There was a big pull, big interest in anime for grown-ups. And sometimes that meant tentacle monsters. But sometimes it meant something more serious and more complex. And so we got the Rurouni Kenshin OVA at the time. Now, I believe the TV series had not actually made it over to America yet. Or was in the process of coming over. So we didn't know it, at least when it came out. When it came out, I had not experienced Kenshin at all. This was my first exposure to Rurouni Kenshin. And this is an anime for adults. There's no gore. No, there is gore. I'm sorry. There's gore. There's no humor. It is a serious story about bad things happening to people and how they react to that. What happened basically is Rurouni Kenshin is described as sort of a shonen romance. It is about a swordsman, an assassin who has given up the way of the sword and is trying to find peace, but that doesn't really happen very easily. And this is his backstory. This is about the time when he was an assassin, he had lost his way, and what happened to him in that. And it had been a mystery in the manga for a very long time, and it was finally revealed. When they made the TV series, not to get a little too off topic, but when they made the TV series, they made 3 seasons of the TV series. Season 1, Season 2, and then by the end of Season 2, they ran out of manga. So they just kind of made stuff up for Season 3. And fans generally tell you not to watch Season 3. Season 3 is that bad. And apparently, the director apologized for Season 3 publicly and said, to make it up to the fans, we're going to adapt Kenshin's backstory as an OVA and make it a completely serious, adult-driven thing. We're going to take it seriously. And that is what Kenshin OVA is. It is a very difficult look at a brutal time in Japanese history and how that brutality affected people and how people reacted to it. For clarity, Kenshin, the Hidokiri Batosai, the manslayer, is a historical Japanese legend. There is a reference to an assassin that was employed by the revolution at the time, but everything about him, obviously, the author made up. There's just a quick reference that there was an assassin at one point. And what's amazing is that Kenshin, the TV series, is a story of it's kind of light adventure a lot of the time. It's a samurai action story with some romance elements and so forth, but it's very upbeat, all told. This is not upbeat. Whatever is the opposite of upbeat, that is Kenshin OVA. This is about people dealing with tragedy. And more importantly, Kenshin, who decides to become an assassin for the revolution because of all the horrors he's seen and experienced with the current regime, is corrupted by that. And he is turned into a soulless killing machine as a result of this. And this is all back to the DVD stuff. I don't think I've ever seen in any media the corrupting influence of personal violence as effectively represented as it is in Kenshin OVA. Because it starts out as this action story, and then you see what Kenshin becomes, and you're like, okay, that's fine, and then it just keeps on developing the outcomes of that and what that does to people, and the cycle of violence is represented so elegantly in Kenshin OVA. In this very classic samurai kind of a story. Again, it can be very bloody, it can be very violent, but it is uncompromising in its vision in a way that it's exceedingly rare. It was made in the mid-90s, I believe. It is full of classic anime art style, in the sense that it's all hand-drawn, all hand-painted stuff, very traditional production process in this. So if you're familiar with like 90s OVA, very much feels like that. And they do a great job of adapting the author's art style, which in turn does a good job of making every character look distinctive, while at the same time, particularly for this OVA, in the TV series they could be a little more over the top. In this, they're much more grounded. They much more feel like historical figures, of which some are based on certain historical figures. And so this is a samurai drama about characters involved in actual history. Again, it's fictionalized, but these things were happening, and so you get an insight into this period in the 1800s in Japan. But so much action, so many action stories present their action as sort of consequence-free. And the theme of this is violence is never consequence-free. Violence always hurts and always causes more violence. And that digging yourself out of that hole is a Herculean task. And it doesn't just negate everything that went before. Those consequences all still have to be lived through and dealt with, all throughout this story. And it also does a remarkable job of laying out little things, and giving you little moments which completely upend the story. I was talking earlier today about the idea of the tilt, that moment where the story just changes on you. That happens several times in Rurouni Kenshin OVA, where you think it's this thing and suddenly it's another thing. And Kenshin is, besides all this thing, Kenshin is an anime that literally changed me. After watching Kenshin, I lost a lot of the interest I had in things like guns and action movies and things like that. I can still enjoy them for what they are. But as an example, I had some friends invite me out for paintball not long after Rurouni Kenshin. And I went out to do it, and I realized I don't want to pretend to kill my friends. And I recognize that lots of folks can do that, and that's fine. But it made me realize the consequences of pulling that trigger. And it just felt uncomfortable for me. It felt weird to even pretend to do that violence on people I like. And so it really made me rethink what it means to be an action hero, right? What it means when people save the day by, spraying bad guys with bullets. And I just see it differently now. Again, I can still enjoy those movies, still enjoy that media. I'm sure if I went off and played paintball, I'd enjoy myself in its own way. But it made me think. It changed my mind at a very basic level. And what more can we ask of great media? And that's what I think Rurouni Kenshin OVA is. Very impressive, not hard to find, and you do not need to see anything else in Kenshin to watch and appreciate and understand this OVA. Chef's kiss, just one of the greats.